Get ready, Padres fans. It's time for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Tatis at third, 2 outs. Fernando takes off. He's going to steal home without a play.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, and our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the Arizona Diamondbacks in the first game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Diamondbacks, right-hander Slade Ciccone, and for the Padres, right-hander Randy Vasquez. Hi again everyone, Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch is coming up at 6:40 p.m. as the Padres begin this 3-game series and this 8-game homestand. We have a jam-packed pregame show for you. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we'll hear from Jurickson Profar, Jackson Merrill, Austin Davis, Mike Shildt, and in just a little bit, we check in with Bob Scanlon. But first, let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside. Padres entered today with a record of 48-43. Padres went 4-2 on a road trip against the Red Sox and the Rangers. Padres have won 11 of their last 14 games in 5 consecutive series. Padres start an 8-game homestand here tonight. They do not hit the road again until after the All-Star break. Meanwhile, the D-backs are 43-44. Arizona just 1-2 of 3 in LA against the Dodgers. They were very close to actually sweeping that series. Diamondbacks have won 4 out of their last 5 games. Yesterday, the Padres played the rubber match of their series in Texas. Let's take a quick look back.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
We had a scoreless game in the top of the 4th inning. There was a runner on third base for Donovan Solano.
2-2 to Solano. The pitch is swung on in line over the head of Smith and down the left field line. Profar will come in and score. Solano's on his way to second base. Langford's throw will be cut by Seager. An RBI double and a 1-0 Padre lead.
In the bottom of the 4th inning, the Rangers made a bid to tie it. Jurickson Profar said no way.
Guy in scoring position for the first time as this ground ball gets through Machado into left. Profar charges. Garcia on his way. The throw and the tag, and he's out at home. Anything you can do, I can do better. And both halves of the 4th inning come to a close with a guy getting thrown out at the plate by the left fielder.
Michael King was rolling early on, 5 scoreless innings to begin his day. Jurickson Profar had already made a play with his arm, and in the top of the 6th inning, he did it with his bat.
1-2. Profar hits it in the air to deep right. Garcia back to watch. Gonna go! Line drive. Home run to right field for Jurickson Profar. The All-Star starter with his 12th of the year, and the Padre lead is now 2-0.
The Rangers made it 2-1 on a Wyatt Langford RBI single in the bottom half of the 6th inning. They got the run back in the top of the 7th inning on a sac fly from Ha-Sung Kim. Padres still led 3-1 in the 9th inning. Robert Suarez shut the door.
Here's the pitch. Runner goes. And a ground ball slowly to the right side. A rise way to his right. Has it. Going to bring it all the way himself. In time, and the ball game is over. Robert Suarez, a 4-out save last night. A 3-out save here this afternoon. The Padres beat the Rangers 3-1. They take the series, and they complete their road trip with a 4-2 record through Boston and Texas.
A very nice win for the Padres on July 4th. Donovan Solano had 3 hits. The Padres bullpen was great once again. 3 2/3 scoreless innings of relief as the Padres beat the Texas Rangers 3-1. And that's how the Padres come home. Again, the start of an 8-game homestand. 3 against the Diamondbacks, a day off on Monday. 2 against the Mariners, a day off on Thursday. and then a 3-game series next weekend against the Atlanta Braves, and that is it for the first half of 2024. Let's go inside the Padres radio booth.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Bob Scanlon in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Scan, good to talk to you and good to be back at Petco Park on an absolutely beautiful City Connect Friday night as we begin this 8-game homestand. And Scan, let's talk about the bullpen to start things, because you look at the 6-game road trip. The Padres bullpen as a collective, Bob, it was terrific. A 0.73 ERA in 24-plus innings. What stood out to you about the way the bullpen performed as a whole during this most recent road trip?
Yeah, they were outstanding, weren't they? And really it came down to just being aggressive, not trying to nibble, not falling behind in the count. And you saw it out of everybody. Matsui, Morejon, Estrada, Suarez, just going after guys with their good stuff. And I think that's the key thing. Look, when you start to nibble, especially coming out of the bullpen, you find yourself into longer counts. You put yourself into hitters' counts. But, coming out of the pen, especially with the stuff these guys have, like Morejon and Suarez and Estrada, I mean, they're bringing it. Those are 95 to 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, every one of those guys. And they're not messing around. They're just going right at them, throwing strikes. And that's usually going to work out to your benefit. And the guy that's impressed me the most, I think, it's Matsui's been doing well of late, but the way Adrian Morejon has just continued to grow this year. Look, he had a couple of stumbling blocks along the way, but it's been mostly good. And the key thing is now, Sam, as you know and have noticed, early on in the season it was, okay, let's get him into some soft spots. Let's see how he does. Let's get him, comfortable out there. Had the injuries in the past years, blah, blah, blah. And then he would do well, and then they'd put him in a little bit more of a high-pressure situation, and things didn't go as well. So they had to back him off and sort of start that process again. Well, he's busted through that barrier now. And now Mike Shildt can bring him in late in the ball game, runners on base, close games, whatever it may be. So he's taken himself to that next step, and that's been a huge, huge asset to this pen to give it a little bit more depth.
I'm totally with you, Scan. Morejon has been terrific, and I'll take it in this context. He was the opening day starter for my Amarillo Sod Poodles in 2019 at Double-A in the Texas League, and to see his progression to now through some of the ups and downs, the injuries, to now see it sort of come together, I think it's really cool, and it's certainly one of the real good storylines for this team in 2024. So I just wanted to work a Sod Poodle reference in there. Let's talk about tonight's starting pitcher, Randy Vasquez, on the mound for the Padres. He gets hit in the right forearm with the line drive a week ago against the Red Sox. It ends his outing. Thankfully, x-rays were negative. He's back on the mound a week later. But before he got hit by the line drive, Scan, I thought he was looking about as good as he's looked this season through 4+ innings. He was in command, was not giving up many runs, not walking guys. What were your thoughts about what Vasquez did in his last start before he got hit in that forearm?
Yeah, I agree with you, and really it was a carryover from the previous outing before that when he went 5 innings against Milwaukee and didn't give up any runs either. And for him, it's all about fastball command. If he's locating the fastball, that gives him more breathing room on the rest of that repertoire. But if you're not, it's like any other pitcher, right? You're going to be in trouble. And the problem with him was it was not a control issue necessarily. It was a command issue in the zone with the fastball. But when he's locating it well and pitching with it on both sides of the plate, I think that's what sort of makes him look like he's in charge a little bit more, because it gives him more breathing room on the off-speed pitches. So really that's the key thing that I'm looking for today. And, to your point, hopefully it can carry over now here for a third outing. The comebacker was scary but didn't injure him. He had the compression sleeve on for several days afterwards, but he seems to be fine. And all it is now is, okay, you had a little bit shorter outing, but you threw well. Now you got 7 days rest, so you should be fresh and ready to go without having been gone too long. So hopefully we see him pick up where he left off.
Finally, Scan, we'll hear from Jurickson Profar coming up a little bit later in our pregame coverage, and it'll be the first game here at Petco Park where Jurickson is an all-star. Just a terrific first half of the season, hit the home run on Sunday, or not Sunday, what am I talking about? Yesterday, on Thursday, against the Texas Rangers. Scan, just a good opportunity to talk about what he's done this season. Your thoughts on this just tremendous story that Jurickson Profar has become in 2024.
It has been a tremendous story, and look, I've talked about it several times lately. People are asking about it, and I really have to go back to, look, people are surprised, but the person that's not surprised is Jurickson Profar. And when you look at his history, and it goes all the way back to his days in Curacao as a Little Leaguer. When he won the Little League World Series, he got back to the World Series the next year as well. So he's kind of been a prodigy ever since he was a kid. And, you know, when he first had an opportunity to sign professionally, a bunch of teams wanted to sign him as a pitcher. And he chose Texas because they were the team that was going to allow him to play shortstop, which is where he wanted to go. But just to give you a little bit of context of how talented this young man was, you know, got to the big leagues in 2 years, then ran into some injury problems that really sort of derailed his progress as, you know, this young and up-and-coming superstar. And I think in his mind, he's always been like, look, I'm still that guy. I'm still that superstar. Right. I've got what it takes. Yeah, I got derailed with some injuries, and, you know, once that happens, it sort of pushes the clock back on everything. So here it is 10 years later, and he feels like, look, I'm finally doing what I've always anticipated and expected that I could do. And it's a credit to him in terms of the hard work that he's put in and some changes that he's made as well. You know, right. I was talking to Victor the other day, asking him about, you know, some things that Jurickson has done differently, and one of the things that he mentioned is he changed his pregame routine. Whereas Jurickson used to always just hit from one side, whichever side the starting pitcher was going to pitch. You know, if it was a right-hander on the mound, he'd only hit from the left side, basically. And Victor learned from Omar Vizquel, no, take more reps from both sides, because what if you don't have a good swing going that day from the right side, or the left side in this case? You don't feel right? Well, if you take some from the right side, oftentimes that can get you locked in and get your timing down on the other side. And the other part of that is, Sam, now that you've taken more swings from both sides, how much more prepared are you later in the game after the fifth inning when they bring in a lefty instead of a righty, and now you got to switch over? So little things like that Jurickson has actually done, along with working with Fernando Tatis Jr. and his dad in winter ball, playing winter ball games. You know, all those things I think are coming to fruition at this point, and it's just really great to see him blossom and sort of be the player that he always believed that he can be. And it's not just been for a week, it's not just been for a month, it's been for the entire year up to this point. And kudos to him for making the All-Star team, and hopefully he can keep it going.
Great insight, Scan. Really, really good stuff. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 6:30. Enjoy tonight's game back here at Petco Park, and we'll talk to you in just a little bit.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sam.
All right, that is Bob Scanlon joining Jesse Agler on the radio call here tonight in downtown San Diego as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, game one of this three-game series between the Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Both these teams, like we said a little bit ago, playing well right now. Padres have won 11 of their last 14 games. Diamondbacks have won 4 out of 5. And again, our pitching matchup here tonight, Randy Vasquez against Slade Ciccone, a couple of young right-handers going at it here at Petco Park. We've got a lot to do between now and first pitch. When we come back, we'll hear from Padre manager Mike Shildt, plus we hear from Jackson Merrill, Jurickson Profar, new reliever Austin Davis, and much, much more to come as we get you ready for first pitch. Our pregame coverage continues when we come back on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Your water perfected, EcoWater SoCal. Your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we get ready for Padres baseball on a Friday night here in downtown San Diego. Game 1 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks. On the mound for the Padres here tonight, right-hander Randy Vasquez against right-hander Slade Ciccone on the mound for Arizona. Coming up, we'll have Who's Hot, Who's Not. We also hear from Jurickson Profar, Jackson Merrill, new Padre reliever Austin Davis. That's all coming up a little bit later on. But right now, let's hear from the Padres skipper.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
All right, so we will get to Mike Shildt in just a moment. Mike Shildt speaking with the media before today's game, as he usually does. Again, the Padres entering this final homestand before the All-Star break. The Padres also will enjoy a couple of off days during this homestand, Monday and Thursday. So we'll see if the Padres can utilize those off days, be a little bit more aggressive with their bullpen. So the homestand, a long one. Randy Vasquez on the mound. Those are just a few of the topics that I discussed earlier today with Mike Shildt. Randy Vasquez tonight, just coming off what happened in Boston, how the outing ended. Are there any limitations on him tonight? Anything you guys are looking for?
No limitations. I mean, he's cleared a pitch. He's thrown his bullpen. He's played long toss. Inflammation's out. Just go pitch like he was pitching in Boston before that, which was really effectively.
Donovan Solano, 3 hits yesterday, really big impact on the game. He continues to have an impact day in, day out. Your thoughts on what he's brought to this club?
Clearly he's had big hits. He's been able to, have great at-bats, professional at-bats, situational at-bats. Righties, lefties, doesn't matter. Had big hits. So he's done a tremendous job in that regard. He's played a nice third when he's getting the opportunity. When he's playing in third, and we give Manny a DH day. And also, I mean, this guy is really high baseball IQ, pro's pro, really good high, ability to communicate. So, him showing how to take a good at bat and then him talking about what he's seeing and how to have his approach, it just resonates amongst the club. It's a positive addition on the field and off.
Your team has won 11 of 14. You come home now, 8-game homestand leading into the All-Star break with the off days as well mixed in there. How do you view this stretch until the break, considering how well you guys are playing right now?
I view it like any other stretch. We're going to go out and play good, baseball, execute, play the game the right way, and compete and look to shake hands every day.
What does it mean for you as a coach to have 2 players in the All-Star game, especially with Fernando, that is going to make history?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, well deserving. It's humbling to be their manager, and they've been a big part of our success of our club, and they've been able to have good halves and be rewarded for it. And I'm excited and proud of them.
And Jurickson Profar, what did you see of him in the preseason? And when can you say now about him?
Actually talk about the preseason, spring training. One of the things that really impressed me initially with Pro was when he came in, because he signed later, but he'd also played as late as anybody in competitive games, playing in the Caribbean World Series. And he came in immediately, and you just saw a guy just barreling baseballs. I mean, everything was just good at bats, just right on everything. And, candidly, he just hadn't stopped.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game. We'll hear a little bit more from Mike coming up a little bit later in our pregame coverage. We have a number of injury updates to get to from Mike Shildt a little bit later. You heard Mike talking about Jurickson Profar there as well. We'll hear from Jurickson coming up in our next segment, and should be exciting. Jurickson Profar playing his first game here at Petco Park as an All-Star. He'll head to Arlington in a little bit less than 2 weeks to appear in that All-Star game, start in that All-Star game for the National League. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
A quick look at the hot category and the not category. Just one guy in each category today. Donovan Solano, his last 8 games, hitting .367 with a couple of doubles and 5 RBIs. Solano back in the lineup today for the Padres. Jake Cronenworth did have a couple of hits in the middle game of the series against the Rangers, but you zoom out a little bit, his last 11 games, Jake is hitting just .211 with only 1 extra base hit. So that's a look at who's hot, who's not in the Padres lineup entering this series opener. When we come back, we still have a lot to do on our pregame coverage. We will get to a number of injury updates. Padres had somebody come off the IL earlier today, and also a very important Padre continuing a rehab assignment as well. We'll update you on those 2 guys and a number of others as well. We hear from Jurickson Profar, Jackson Merrill. We hear from new Padres reliever Austin Davis. A full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more to do. First pitch coming up at 6:40 on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres get ready to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. First pitch coming up at 6:40. We go out to Jesse Agler and Bob Scanlon in just about 25 minutes at 6:30. They'll have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and then all the play-by-play. A number of injury updates to get to. Let's get to it.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
The Padres did have a roster move earlier today. They did reinstate catcher Luis Campusano from the 10-day IL. Campy not in the lineup here today, but obviously available off the bench if needed. The corresponding move, the Padres optioning Eggy Rosario to AAA El Paso. So that was the official move earlier today. Xander Bogaerts started his rehab assignment with AAA El Paso yesterday. He's scheduled to be in the lineup today for El Paso and play second base. So very good news on the Xander Bogaerts front as he continues that rehab assignment. Mike Shildt, before today's game, had a number of injury updates. He begins here with Luis Campusano.
Had 4 games and with Lake E and got at bats, got to catch a couple games, and it's ready to get back and join us.
Ignacio is starting today, but he'll be available to you off the bench, you think?
Correct. Yes.
How about Bogaerts? Where's he in the process?
Yeah, Bogey had his first rehab, DH last night, 1 for 4, single with a walk. All reports were favorable. Text with him today, said he felt good. Looks like he's going to play second tonight. Probably a day off tomorrow, and then might go back to DH the following day and just see how he feels. But the good news is he's on rehab assignment, and every day he's healthy and recovering. He's closer back to being with us.
What's a reasonable progression if he doesn't have a setback?
I don't want to put it necessarily. I mean, I think, you're probably looking at, everybody's different. It's clearly this guy's got a lot of time in the league, knows his body, knows what his swing feels like. So it's hard to say. My guess is, 6-7 games, probably, entertain maybe him being able to look to come back, but just depends on how it goes, how he feels, how his timing's looking.
I'm certain to put maybe even a game or two before the break on it.
I would, hesitate to say it. I wouldn't rule it out, but I wouldn't say, yeah, it's we can rubber stamp it.
How about you? Where's Mr. Darvish?
It sounds like the second opinion was similar to our opinion. Nothing structural, nothing overly concerning. Just starting to play catch. Was able to work out when he was, back here when we were on the road trip. So, now it's a matter of just getting back to playing catch and building up.
And with that build-up, are we looking at again by feel type of timeline, or are you trying to accelerate him for?
Definitely by feel. I mean, he's had a couple of setbacks this year, so it's definitely by feel, and we're not going to look to push too hard. We'll be smart, and clearly we'll partner with you on it.
Finally, Joe Musgrove, he was supposed to have played catch a little bit recently. Can you tell us how that went and where he is in the process?
It looks good. I've watched him. I've heard reports. He's been able to long toss, able to have a little bit of intensity behind it. Is recovering well, so he's at the very early stages of playing catch, and like I say, lengthening it out and being a little bit more aggressive with his catch play. All the things are favorable, but there's still a road ahead.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today. A number of different injury updates. You heard about Joe Musgrove there. You heard about Yu Darvish there. You heard about Xander Bogaerts, and certainly all those guys hopefully on the way back. We know with Joe it's going to be a little bit, probably not until August. With Yu Darvish, again, you heard about the second opinion there. Good news there as far as when Yu is going to return. That still seems to be pretty up in the air. So those were the updates from earlier today on the slew of injuries that the Padres continue to deal with. But again, some good news. Campusano off the IL as of today, and Xander Bogaerts on a rehab assignment at AAA El Paso. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We have one final from earlier today. The Cubs beat the Angels 5-1 in Chicago. Justin Steele, 7 strikeouts in a complete game 2-hitter against the Angels as the Cubs beat the Angels 5-1. Games going on right now, a lot of them. We've got the Nationals leading the Cardinals 5-4 in D.C. in the 8th inning. Pirates beating up on the Mets 14-2 in Pittsburgh in the 8th inning. Yankees lead the Red Sox 3-1 in New York, 6th inning there. White Sox ahead of the Marlins 3-0 in Miami in the 7th. Giants 4, Guardians 1 in Cleveland, 5th inning there. 6th inning in Cincinnati, Tigers 4 and the Reds 1. 6th inning in Atlanta, Phillies 5, Braves 2. Rangers ahead of the Rays 3-0 in Arlington in the 4th inning. Astros and Twins tied at 3 in Minnesota in the 3rd. Royals 2, Rockies 1 in Colorado in the 4th inning. Games yet to begin. Orioles and the A's in Oakland at 6:40. Blue Jays and the Mariners in Seattle at 6:40. Brewers and the Dodgers in L.A. at 7:10. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Well, as we've alluded to a number of times, a very exciting night for Jurickson Profar. He'll play in front of the home crowd for the first time as an All-Star. Jurickson, the starting left fielder for the National League in the All-Star game, coming up in just a little bit less than 2 weeks now in Arlington, Texas. Obviously a tremendous honor for Jurickson. Here was Profar earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse talking about what he's most looking forward to at that All-Star game and more.
Everything. For my son is going to be a really happy moment. Just, I think, watching the home run derby with him.
Obviously, your play on the field, it led you to this All-Star appearance. What do you feel like has been the biggest key for you this season in the first half?
Just putting everything together and stay consistent. Stay consistency.
What's been most important to you in reaching that consistency that you've had all year?
I don't know. Yes, I don't know. Just, I've always been this player, but for maybe a month, weeks. But, just the mindset to try to do it every day, pushing myself to do it every day.
How much does that, add to your level of enjoyment, seeing how much your son enjoys the sport, enjoys everything?
Yes, a lot, because I was the same when I was a little kid. Everything was baseball. So when I see him like that, it gives me a lot of joy.
This team on this road trip, what do you kind of make of the way you guys put it together and take care of that going forward?
Yes, we've been playing really, really good baseball, and we work hard. We work hard, and early in the beginning of the season, we weren't there, but everyone in here kept working hard, and now we are playing really good baseball, and I expect that, from this team.
This team has dealt with so many injuries throughout the season, and you guys are right there. How does that help really make this team better, especially when you know that certain guys are going to return in the very near future?
Yeah, since the beginning of the season, we know that we had a great team, but the record wasn't showing it, and a lot of people doubting it. But like I said, we just kept working, and with the injuries, there's a lot of other guys that are stepping in and really do the job. I think it's because of the chemistry that we have in here and playing for each other every day.
That was Jurickson Profar earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. And Jurickson talking about different guys stepping up. Certainly Donovan Solano, 3 hits yesterday, had a big impact in yesterday's game. And we've talked about it quite a bit. That means guys stepping up throughout the 26-man roster, up and down the Padres lineup. And that means even guys that have just shown up to the Padres, and that includes Austin Davis, the new Padres left-handed reliever. Davis so far has been pretty effective. 3 appearances, 4 innings of work, 1 run given up on just 1 hit. Very good numbers at AAA El Paso. He had a couple of stints in the major leagues with other organizations. He was actually at one point last season in independent baseball, pitched in the Dominican Winter League this past offseason. So it has been quite the journey for Austin Davis over the last year or so. I caught up with Austin Davis earlier today. Welcome to San Diego. You joined the team in the last week. How's it been going so far?
It's been great. Really good road trip. Guys played really well. It was fun to be a part of 2 winning series, and then excited to be here in San Diego.
And your results on the mound so far have been really good with the Padres out of the bullpen. Looking at your numbers from El Paso, a lot of success there as well. What's worked the last couple of months for you?
Just trying to pound the strike zone more. And, that's something that I got away with a little bit in Boston and in Texas, not as much as I'd like, but just trying to be in the zone as much as I can and hope that gets me outs.
As far as adjusting to a new clubhouse, you're about to play your first game here at Petco Park. From the life standpoint, what has the last week been like?
Yeah, I think it's just exciting. From a player's standpoint, teammate standpoint, I played with a lot of guys in this clubhouse before on other teams or in the Dominican in the winter. So that's just been fun to see old faces and then meet the new guys I haven't met before. And then being here, this clubhouse, I've been here for 5 minutes. It's amazing. And I'm excited for the Petco crowd.
You mentioned playing with some of the guys in the Dominican. You look at really your last year. I mean, there was a point last year you were in the American Association. You pitched in the Dominican over the winter. The last year or so now to be here in San Diego, back in the major leagues after you spent time in the major leagues with other organizations. I mean, what's it like now to be back here?
It's really fun, and I think for my family, it's really nice. I've got 2 kids and my wife, and so we're excited to be in San Diego and be in a beach town and just enjoy that, however long we get to be here. And they made a lot of sacrifice for me to be able to go play in the Dominican or just go to Indy ball real quick and leave them behind. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, well, it's a great place to be in the summer. Weather is great, especially this time of year. I mentioned the life part of it with your wife, 2 kids. I mean, when you're adjusting going from El Paso to San Diego, I mean, how did the logistics of something like that work?
Yeah, well, first off, they're troopers, so that makes it easy. But, I mean, when you're a part of a major league team, they're very helpful. So they help me get an apartment and get settled in, get the car here and all that stuff, and kind of just take all those logistics out of my hands, and they take them on so that I can just focus on pitching, which made life very easy for me.
Austin, really appreciate the time. Great work out of the Padres bullpen so far, and we'll talk to you again down the road. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
That was new Padres reliever Austin Davis. Had a great time getting to know Austin a little bit better. Hopefully you got to know him a little bit better as well. We'll see how Austin, or when I should say Austin, appears during this 3-game series against Arizona. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Let's give you tonight's keys to the game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Key number 1, pro and crony beating up on the Diamondbacks. Jurickson Profar is hitting .360 with a .760 slugging percentage, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs this season in 7 games against Arizona. Jake Cronenworth is hitting .375 against him with a .656 slugging percentage, 2 home runs, and 6 RBIs. So how do the Padres pick up a win today? Well, Profar and Cronenworth having those kinds of games against the Diamondbacks, that would go a long way. That's key number 1. Key number 2, limiting Ketel Marte and Christian Walker. Let's start with Marte. Marte is 8 for 23. That's a .348 batting average, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs in 6 games against the Padres so far this season. Christian Walker is one of the hottest guys in baseball right now. He's reached base in 17 of his last 24 plate appearances. He's 13 for 20 in that span with 5 home runs and 11 RBIs. He's hit a home run in 3 consecutive games. He is scorching hot right now. How do the Padres handle Marte and the red-hot Christian Walker here tonight? That's key number 2. And key number 3, the bullpen continuing to be dominant. The Padres bullpen has been great as of late. On the road trip to Boston and Arlington, 6 games, 24 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs given up. That equaled a .074 ERA during this 6-game road trip. They were absolutely stellar as a group. Can the Padres keep that up out of their bullpen? That's key number 3, and that's a look at our keys to tonight's game. When we come back at our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, we'll hear from today's center fielder and the reigning NL Rookie of the Month, Jackson Merrill. We also tell you what to watch for in today's game and a full breakdown of our pitching matchup between a couple of young right-handers, Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres and Slade Ciccone on the mound for Arizona. Our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres begin this three-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll hear from Jackson Merrill in just a moment. First, let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in today's game. Does Petco Park continue as we enter the month of July to be a home run hitter's paradise, if you will? How about this? For the first 20 seasons after this park opened in 2004, Petco Park was one of the most extreme pitchers' parks in the majors. 7.81 combined runs per game from 2004 to 2023. But this season, that combined runs per game number is over 9. It's jumped up a run and a half this season. That's a huge amount. In that note as well, there have been 119 home runs hit at Petco Park in 2024. That is the most home runs hit in any National League stadium. So again, to put it in perspective, here at Petco Park, a place that has typically been considered a pitcher's park, more home runs hit here this season than any other NL ballpark. It has been a huge home run park. We'll see if that continues here in the month of July. Certainly one guy that can hit him out, that is Padres center fielder Jackson Merrill. Jackson spoke inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. Here he was on the feeling inside the room when Profar and Fernando Tatis Jr. were named All-Stars earlier this week.
Yeah, everybody's just loving for him. Everybody's loving on him. We back him up the whole year, so it's cool to see both of them. I'm really happy for Pro, especially going to his first one.
What do you guys take away from just how you guys played? How you guys played as of late, and really finding different ways to go ahead and battle through injury?
Yeah, we're playing good baseball. We're winning baseball without scoring a lot of runs, which is really important. But overall, it doesn't matter how much you win by, or you win by 20 or 1. You win the game. You win the game.
You've talked about the chemistry inside this clubhouse, going back to even spring training. When you think about this group, what stood out to you in that sense from a chemistry, getting along standpoint?
It didn't matter who you were, everybody was talking to each other in the clubhouse. I think that's very important, regardless, even if you don't know somebody's name. Everybody's going up and introducing themselves, making sure everybody was known, felt like part of the team, regardless if you were a minor league guy or you were just backing up or anything. Everybody felt part of the team, didn't matter who you were.
How important has it been for your development to have the guys you had to your left and right, Profar and Tatis?
Definitely, cool, but more fun than anything. I think they let me have fun. They let me be a 21-year-old and don't expect the world from me. They expect me to do my part and do good, but they let me have fun and be a young 20-year-old kid. That's the most important thing to me.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview. Presented by Chimney Sweeps, Inc., San Diego's trusted chimney and fireplace service company for 40 years. Call Chimney Sweeps, Inc. at 1-800-CHIMNEY or book an inspection online at chimneysweepsinc.com.
On the mound for the Padres, right-hander Randy Vasquez. The 25-year-old is 2-4, a 4.88 ERA and 11 starts, 51-plus innings. His last start in Boston, really good through 4-plus innings. Then he got hit in the right forearm by a line drive, had to come out of the game. Opponents are hitting .341 against Vasquez this season, the highest opponent batting average of any pitcher in baseball this year, with at least 50 innings of work. Vasquez faced the D-backs on June 6th. He was good that day. Gave up 3 runs in 6 2/3 innings. Right-hander Slade Ciccone on the mound for Arizona, 2-6, a 5.81 ERA in 12 outings, 57-plus innings. His last start against the A's gave up 3 runs in 4 innings. Ciccone's ERA at 5.81, the 10th highest among pitchers with 50-plus innings this season. This is already Ciccone's 3rd start against the Padres in 2024. Gave up 6 runs in 4 innings and a third on May 3rd in Arizona. Gave up 3 runs in 4 innings and a third on June 6th here in San Diego. And that's a look at our pitching matchup today. Slade Ciccone on the mound for Arizona. Randy Vasquez on the mound for San Diego. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Padres entered today a record of 48-43. Padres have won 11 out of 14. They have won 4 consecutive series, trying to start this homestand on a high note here tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks. When we come back, Jesse Ackler, Bob Scanlon have the starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our postgame show. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network.